Welcome back everyone. I am so excited to be doing this video. Today I have a haul from RightstufAnime. Their sales this year have been pretty good, and I've utilized the subreddit for RightstufAnime to obtain some 10% coupons that people have been so kind to post. I have quite a few items to show y'all, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I do want to show the box that they came in because this is the first RightstufAnime box that I've gotten that's been so damaged. And with some of the operational changes RightStuff has been going through the past few years, especially since the pandemic, I know people are really worried about the quality of the packing, because RightStuff has always been really good about it. They include cardboard, paper, and all kinds of stuff to make sure the books are secure and you don't get any damaged packages or products. So mine, unfortunately, here's the box. So I was really worried, especially because the top part, the manga that I had was enough to fill the, I guess, the width of the box, but not the height. So the top part was pretty flabby, and I'm assuming that's why it tore here at the top. It must have been stacked under other things, and then when something on top got on top of it, and it wasn't strong enough to secure the weight of it, it obviously bent and tore right here. Thankfully, so thankful that none of the products were really damaged, I would say, because of this shipping method, and all the books were secure in their little cardboard inserts. So very thankful for the staff at RightStuff to make sure that big packages like this are secure. Here you can kind of see what it looks like, but yes, very thankful that it managed to save my books, because I would have been very devastated. I know you can pay, I think, $1 for Root, but I would really prefer not to rely on a third-party company to get refunds for my products when I'm purchasing from a store. That's just personal preference. But let's go ahead and get started. So I'll start off with a group that I want to go ahead and pack because they are a Christmas gift. So I have volumes 4, 5, and 6, and 7 of Komi Can't Communicate, which I'm sure I don't even have to introduce. This series is so popular. I have not gotten around to watching the anime or reading it. I did consider it, because it does look like a very sweet, funny series about a very anxious girl that's trying her best to make new friends. My only concern with series like this is that the protagonist is obviously meant to be a waifu, so I don't know. So a problem I see a lot of the time with manga aimed towards that demographic is that they tend to be really childish, even though she's supposed to be a teenager. But I've heard many good things, so I'm sure that's not an issue with this one. But again, I just haven't gone around to reading it. So this is actually for my sister-in-law, and I don't know how many volumes she has. I asked my brother and he's not 100% sure. All I know is that she has the first few volumes, so I went ahead and got the bundle that RightStuff had, volumes 4 to 7. I believe because there are more volumes than 7, you can get bundles. After these volumes, they come in bundles of 4, so if you're still interested, highly recommend checking that out. All the volumes came in great condition, so I'm happy to say that I can go ahead and pack that for Christmas and put it under the tree. Next, because this is majority manga haul, I'm just going to go ahead and show this too. This is Case Close, One Truth Prevails, Sunflowers of Inferno. So this is one of the movies, the more recent ones that I don't have in my collection, and I'm very excited to add to my collection because I love Case Close. Oh no, I ripped it. But yeah, this is a series very near and dear to my heart. It's one of those series that my sister and I watch constantly. Like this, it's very hard for me to rewatch anime series, so I have to really like it, and the dub has to be good, really, because rewatchable series, I feel like, are the ones that you can put in the background after a while because you've seen it so many. No, the case is broken. I wonder if I can get a refund for that. It's just the case, but still, I'll have to ask them. But I guess there was one fatality from the crushed box. But honestly, I'm not surprised. Blu-ray cases are so cheap. I do appreciate that it has an insert. And here's the disc. Once again, this new publisher, they're using the old Detective Conan logo, which is cool, but the DVD or the Blu-rays themselves look really cheap. Like the printing on the disc, it makes it look like a bootleg, even though I know it's not a bootleg. But regardless of the broken case, I will be emailing about that, see if they are willing to give me a replacement. I don't think so. I don't think it's probably going to be a big enough issue to them to replace this, because it's just the case. But I'll try. I'll let them know. Maybe I'll get a partial refund or something. But yes, I'm very excited to watch this. It is dubbed, which is great. Unfortunately, will not have the iconic voices of the original series, but very happy to watch this. I enjoyed the previous movies that I ordered not too long ago, or actually quite a bit ago. I've since watched them. They're great. Love them. Next, I have another bundle that I ordered. This is volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Kaiju number 8. This is a series I've been eyeing for a couple months now, and I recently saw it at Walmart, so it reminded me to check Right Stuff for it, and thankfully they had a bundle available. I believe they have some available for the later volumes as well. This is story and art by Naoya Matsumoto, and I honestly don't know what it's about, other than a vague idea just based on the title and browsing or flipping through the manga itself. So I'm excited to read this blind. So maybe I'll do a little ASMR manga video if I end up liking it. I still need to do a couple of Jujutsu Kaisen ones too. It's just, once again, there's so much going on that it's really hard to make time for stuff like that. But speaking of Jujutsu Kaisen, wow, this ring light is really, really annoying doing that. Do y'all see that? But anyway, this is Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 7. I think this is probably going to be the final volume for now that I'll get from this series, just because the anime went so far ahead that, and I've read on the future volumes online already, so I've read ahead in the story. I don't really see a need to keep collecting the manga for now. But I love this character so much. I really wanted the volume with his cover, so I'm excited to have this in my collection. And what happens in this volume is pretty badass as well. I love Nobara. She's one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character in the series, and she gets her bad A moment in this book. So excited. Love it. And I know I usually try to read the authors and such, but some of these I've mentioned before multiple times, so I probably will avoid doing that for those. But for any new books and new series that I get, I will definitely read off the authors as well as the company that publishes the books. Next, I have Imperfect Girls, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Again, this is a bundle. The volumes themselves look a little bit yellowed compared to the other books, so this might be a series that they're just not selling that well. Regardless, a friend of mine had it on his wish list, so I went ahead and bought it for Christmas. And I'm assuming he likes it, or maybe he was just interested and wanted to read it, so hopefully he enjoys this. I don't know what it's about, but it is by Nishio Eisen and retold by Mitsuru Hattori. So it may be a manga adaptation of a novel or something. And this is published by Vertical Comics, which is not a company I see often. It's printed in Canada as well. Then I have volume 1 of From the Red Fog by Mosae Nohara. I love the artwork on the cover. It's gorgeous. I love his facial expression. And this one just piqued my interest because of the artwork, basically. So this is one I'm definitely going to read blind. That is so cute. But look at this artwork. It's gorgeous. They have a vague memory of reading the synopsis. Let's see. Born in darkness, a young boy steps into the light. Raised in a cellar, steeped in solitude, his entrance into English society at the turn of the 19th century is anything but painless. From place to place he journeys, seeking companions who share his unusual interests. But always, always a red fog follows, consuming everything in its path. So very ominous. I believe this is a horror series, which is why it piqued my interest. It's rated Ultra Teen, and it's by Yen Press. Now this one did have some damage, but it's so minimal I don't really care. Maybe in the future, if this is a series I end up liking a lot and I care about having a perfect volume, I'll just find a new copy somewhere. But for now, I'm fine. Yeah, spine has a little bit of wear in there as well. But yeah, so far the art looks really cool and a little gritty in this series, so I'm excited to read that. Moving on, I have 3 Korean, I'm hesitant to say boys love because it's a little controversial, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. I have 3 Korean boys love webcomic adaptations that I'm pretty excited to show. I will start with the first. This is a series I was reading online and never finished. So when I saw it on RightstufA's website, I was so excited. I did not even know they were publishing these comics in book form. I know like Germany got a couple and other countries obviously have gotten a couple. Korea, this is originally a Korean webcomic. So obviously they got a physical copy, but in English, I'm really glad the Korean webcomics are getting their day because a lot of them are really, really good. And the way the stories are told are just so vastly different from Japanese manga that it's nice to have a breath of fresh air. So this is a boys love comic. It's called On or Off by A1. This is volume 1, and I'm eyeing volume 2, which is on the website right now. And this is 100% for mature readers because Korean webcomics do not play around. They don't really have a lot of censorship like the Japanese ones do. Let me see if I can flip through. Oh god, it starts off kind of raunchy, but the artwork is so cute. I love the colors, and the thing about these webcomics is because they were originally published in color, when you buy them physically, they're going to be in full color. It's great. They're really thick too, and this is published by Tokyo Pop, which is crazy. So I'm happy to see them again. Hopefully they do a better job than they did last time. But yes, this one is so funny. I love the comedy in it, and it's just a little classic rom-com where the subordinate joins his company, and he has a one-night stand with the main boss, but the boss thinks that he was trying to get up in the company by sleeping with him, whereas the young guy is kind of oblivious to that idea, and shenanigans ensue, and it's really sweet, I think. So I'm excited to read that physically. I think I've already read the majority of what happens in this volume online, but I'm excited to reread it either way. Next is Love is an Illusion, Volume 1. The story and artwork is by Fargo, and this is published by 7 Seas. Wow, so multiple publishers are trying to get into the Korean webcomic game, and this is officially licensed by Lezen too. I wonder, was On and Off a Lezen comic? I don't remember. I thought it was, but the Lezen branding isn't on the Tokyo Pop one. Interesting. For anyone not aware, Lezen is one of the larger online publishers of Korean webcomics. I used to actually pay the little coin membership to read multiple chapters of a story, and then eventually I was like, this is too much money. So again, I'm very happy that they're publishing the whole volumes complete physically, because I think it's probably a lot cheaper. But look at this thick boy. Look how thick that is. That's crazy. Now this one I primarily purchased because I am a fan of the author. They have a different series on Lezen whose, gosh, I can't remember the name. I think it's called more or less Why I Hate You So Much or something like that. That title makes it sound like it's an enemies to lovers story, which sort of. I just really liked that couple more than I did this couple. And this particular story takes a little more getting used to if you're not used to some of the tropes and rising romance stories. So this one uses the Omega verse, like biology. So if you've never heard of that, if you don't want to learn about this, you could feel free to skip now. But basically, Omegaverse is this made up fictional thing where males can get pregnant, and there's this whole biological thing based on wolf packs and nature stuff. Basically, scenting humans in this universe usually have different organs, sexual organs. Some people adjust it a little to fit their story and their plot, And then some people like to exaggerate the whole scenting and going crazy because they go into heat, which is a thing. It's this evolving thing on the internet that is now creeping over into mainstream stories. And this one features that it only really comes into play in this story as like a catalyst for their romance, because he's interested, he's not, and he's kind of a brat, which is why I said that I much prefer the characters in the other story by this author. The main reason it comes into play in this story is because the main character goes throughout his life thinking he was an alpha, and then he meets this character, and he all of a sudden he transforms into an omega. Or I think he never realized he was an omega. It just never, it just never happened to him, the effects of it. It never flared up until he met him, which is like his fated mate, if I remember correctly, and that's why it happens. So he, gets confused, is angry at the fact that it turns out he's an omega, because this whole time he's been kind of this high and mighty. He's had this high and mighty mentality about himself. So that's kind of why he's a brat and why I prefer the other couple over. He takes some getting used to, let's just say that. It does get sweet. It does get very sweet. It's a sweet story. So if you're interested in reading something cute, definitely would still recommend this. The art style is so adorable. I love this author's art style. Their baby, adorable. But again, you do kind of have to sift through his awful attitude in the beginning. But I wanted to support this author on the off chance that maybe 7 Seas will eye their other story and publish that one as well, because that is 100% the one I want. I'm surprised this one got published first, because I think the other one was published on Lezen first. So I'm assuming this one was just more popular, which is blasphemous. And this one was definitely a black and white story. So the comic is in black and white. Oops, sorry, there was some saucy stuff there. But it ended up being cute in the end as well, even though he gets this love interest takes some getting used to. I will warn you about that. But it is still cute towards the end. And then finally, I have Killing Stalking Deluxe Edition, Volume 1, Story and Art by Kugi. This is also by 7 Seas Entertainment. And the reason I say it's controversial is because this story was pretty controversial as it was publishing. I started reading this when it was first published, and I just kept along with it until it finished. And throughout that whole time, there was this big discourse online about whether or not this was considered romance, which I never thought it was. It was always labeled horror. So the fact that people thought it was going to be a romance and the two characters were going to have a happily ever after towards the end really baffled me. The atmosphere this author created in the story and the art style, just everything about the story screamed horror to me, or psychological thriller at the least. So this discourse never made any sense to me. I thought it was pretty straightforward that this was going to be a horror and it probably wouldn't have a happy ending. But regardless, that's what the discourse was about. And people got really hateful over it. I think some people even sent threats to the author because they thought they were marketing this. Maybe it was the website's fault, because there's a relationship between two males in the story. It was labeled as boys love under the website, and I think that's where people got the confusion. But I think the people who were confused were the people who weren't really reading this, or were paying too much attention to the fan base that grew from this, because obviously teenage girls interested in a story and into yaoi are probably going to go a little overboard with their imagination and making up alternate universes where the two main characters fall in love regularly. Spoiler alert, that is not what this story is about. So the main story of Killing Stalking is that this character has some mental issues, and he has this obsession with this character who's a very popular guy at his college. So he stalks him to the point where he is able to break into his house and discovers a very grisly discovery about his crush, and ends up becoming a prisoner by him. And a lot of the stuff that happens after that is very spoilery, so I won't spoil it if you're interested in reading it. But again, I would 100% recommend going into this knowing it's a horror. It is a horror, a psychological thriller. It is not a romance, and I stand by that. And this comic was full color, so the comic printed is full color as well. And I'm really happy about that. The paper itself is It's like a thinner version of the glossy comic paper, but still good quality. It looked a little matte, but I think that's just because of the art style. But yes, I love that it's super thick. I do wonder why it says deluxe, because I couldn't find a standard edition anywhere or any trace of 7Seas publishing this as a standard edition. So it's been a few days and I was flipping through it and actually looked it up. So the reason it's deluxe is because it's all in color. First of all, the fact that I've been rereading this, let me warn y'all, this is some fucked up shit right here. I was immediately reminded of how messed up the story gets. So yeah, definitely a horror. Don't get where that discourse came from. But anyway, it's deluxe because it is all in full color. And it comes with this fold out little image, which I thought was cool. And yeah, really good. And this does read left to right. If anyone doesn't know, Korean comics read left to right, not right to left. Regardless, I am very happy to own this, and I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for a volume 2 so I can have the full collection, because this is definitely a story that I really liked. One thing to note, though, is that because these were webcomics, they may have not been saved in the highest quality, so you can definitely see some pixelation on the cover artwork. But as far as the printed pages go, it looks pretty good. I don't see any loss of quality for the most part. So again, very happy to have this. It's a bit hard to get all of this manga in frame, but this is everything that I got in this haul. I will make sure to link, like always, all these products in the description. There's a lot of manga that I've been eyeing, and once I know no one bought it for me for Christmas, I'm going to go back to Right Stuf and buy more. So expect another manga haul. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.